My termination meeting with her was abrupt. "We require fresh perspectives for our upcoming product release," she explained, referring to someone with a keen understanding of current market dynamics. "My name is Oliver, I'm 43, and I was the lead product designer at Apex Outdoor Equipment in Seattle for 8 years. Or at least, I was until that Tuesday morning when Beatrice summoned me to her office with Deborah from HR already seated beside her. The writing had been on the wall for a while. Ever since Beatrice assumed the role of creative director, imposing her high fashion sensibilities onto our rugged outdoor brand, my work seemed to fall short. Everything I crafted, practical, durable gear designed for actual mountain expeditions, was suddenly deemed insufficiently innovative. "Your designs lack the forward-thinking approach we need," Beatrice continued, pushing the termination paperwork across her desk with perfectly polished nails that had never known the feel of a climbing harness. I nodded, maintaining a neutral expression. 8 years of my designs had been instrumental in building this company's reputation among serious adventurers. The Explorer Series backpacks were my brainchild, the adaptable layering system that earned 3 international design accolades, also mine. But none of that mattered anymore. I thanked her for the feedback, gathered my sketchbooks, disconnected my tablet and left. What Beatrice didn't realize was that I'd been quietly building a personal portfolio. These were designs Apex had rejected, deemed too experimental or misaligned with their target demographic, designs I still believed in wholeheartedly. As I drove home, my phone vibrated with a message from David in product development. "They just made the biggest blunder in their corporate history," it read. My design journey started at my grandfather's workshop in Portland. He crafted custom wooden kayaks, instilling in me the principle that function dictates form. No wasted space, no unnecessary embellishments, just pure purposeful design. This philosophy guided me through design school and into my career. When I joined Apex, they were struggling, boasting good products marred by poor design execution. I completely overhauled their aesthetic. The CEO at the time, Charles, understood my vision. "Make it work first, then make it look good," he'd said. "People who use our equipment will notice the difference." He was right. Within 4 years, our sales had tripled. Outdoor enthusiasts trusted the brand because our gear solved real-world problems. The Explorer backpack line's weight distribution was so exceptional that professional guides specifically requested them for extended expeditions. The climate-adaptive jacket system adjusted to temperature fluctuations without added bulk, an award-winning innovation born from understanding genuine needs. Then Charles retired. The company appointed Victoria as CEO, who hired Beatrice from the fashion world to supposedly elevate the brand. Suddenly, meetings revolved around aesthetics rather than performance specifications. My designs were questioned, then ignored. Newer designers, mostly recent graduates with impressive digital portfolios but zero fieldwork experience, began receiving the most prominent projects. 3 months prior, I submitted concepts for our next generation of waterproof apparel. Beatrice dismissed them as uninspired. The following week, I witnessed her present strikingly similar concepts to the executive team, crediting them to Mark, her recent hire from a luxury fashion house. That night I contacted Anthony, an old friend who joined Pinnacle Outfitters, Apex's main competitor, as their materials specialist. "What's your contract situation like these days?" he asked. After I explained the situation. "No non-compete clause," I replied. "Charles thought they were unethical." Anthony paused. "Interesting, very interesting. The severance package was generous, 4 months' salary, and extended benefits. Professional courtesy for 8 years of dedicated service." I signed the paperwork without protest and drove home in silence. My apartment felt different that afternoon. Smaller yet somehow more spacious. I sat at my drafting table, spreading out the sketches Beatrice had rejected over the past year. 12 collections in total, each meticulously detailed, each addressing specific challenges for serious outdoor enthusiasts. Rain beat against the window as I studied them. I had designed as if I still worked for the old Apex, the one that valued functionality and durability. But that company no longer existed. It had morphed into something else, prioritizing trends over genuine needs. My phone rang at 8 p.m. It was Abigail Carter, creative director at Pinnacle Outfitters. "Thomas mentioned you're available," she stated without preamble. "He says you're the true driving force behind Apex's golden era." I remained silent, waiting. "Got anything worth showing me?" she continued. "We're developing our autumn collection, and could use some fresh perspectives." I glanced at my rejected concepts. "I might have a few ideas," I replied. "Send them over tonight," she instructed. "If they're promising, we should talk." After we disconnected, I spent 4 hours refining 6 designs, not altering the core concepts, but enhancing their presentation. At 1 a.m. I emailed them to Abigail with concise notes, explaining each design's functionality. Then I went to bed and slept better than I had in months. The next morning, I received an email from Abigail, my office at 11 a.m. Bring your contract terms. I showered, dressed in my field jacket and boots instead of office attire, and drove to Pinnacle's headquarters. The receptionist guided me directly to Abigail's office, a space cluttered with material samples and prototype gear. A far cry from Beatrice's sleek minimalist space. Abigail gestured towards a corkboard, where she'd pinned printouts of all 6 of my designs. These solve problems we've been struggling with for 2 seasons, she observed. Especially this one. She tapped the centerpiece of my collection, a modular waterproof system adapting to various conditions, without compromising mobility. How soon can you start? She asked. I'm available now, I replied. She nodded. Good. Because we need to move quickly on these. Very quickly. For the first time since Beatrice's arrival at Apex, I smiled. 1 week into my new role at Pinnacle, I received a call from Robert, Apex's production manager. We'd collaborated closely for years, navigating manufacturing challenges and balancing innovative design with practical production. Oliver, this is off the record, he began cautiously. But things are falling apart. Justin's designs look great in renderings, but they're a manufacturing nightmare, Robert continued. Materials don't behave as he anticipates. The prototype backpacks are coming in 3 pounds heavier than the specifications. Not my problem anymore, I replied, although a part of me still cared. Beatrice claims you left the team without proper documentation of your production processes, Robert continued. She's telling the executive team you sabotaged the transition. That made me sit up straight. This wasn't simply about moving on. Beatrice was actively damaging my professional reputation. Against my better judgment, I emailed Victoria requesting a meeting to clear the air. She agreed to coffee the next morning. The cafe was bustling, which I considered advantageous, neutral territory, a public setting. Victoria arrived 15 minutes late, already checking her watch. I'll be frank, I began. I've heard Beatrice is suggesting I deliberately left without proper documentation. That's false. All my files are meticulously organized in the shared drive, and I personally trained Justin on my process before leaving, I explained. Remain silent or we'll make this difficult for you. I appreciate your concern, I replied cautiously. I'd hate for Apex to waste production resources on designs that are unmanufacturable. Her eyes narrowed slightly. We'll manage our production challenges internally. Thank you. I hope you'll be discreet about company matters going forward. As she departed, my phone buzzed with a text from Abigail. Contracts are ready. We want to expedite your waterproof collection. I watched Victoria's retreating figure. She had no idea what was coming. 3 days later, I received a certified letter from Apex's legal department. They were reviewing my employment history regarding potential confidentiality breaches. The letter avoided direct accusations but implied I might have violated company policies. I showed it to Abigail, who immediately passed it to Pinnacle's legal team. A standard intimidation tactic, their counsel explained, after reviewing it. They have no case. The designs you're creating for us are original, and you didn't have a non-compete clause. They're trying to scare you into silence. Should I respond? I asked. No, we'll handle it, she replied. That evening, Pinnacle's lawyer sent a concise, devastating reply to Apex. We possess extensive documentation of Mr. Graves' rejected designs during his tenure at your company, including submission dates and subsequent dismissal. We would welcome the opportunity to compare those with your current product development timeline in court. 2 days passed with no further communication from Apex. Then Robert called again. What did you do? He asked. Beatrice had a closed-door meeting with legal, and she emerged looking like she'd seen a ghost. I said nothing. Just watch your back, he warned. She's not giving up. 2 days later, Anthony invited me to lunch. We met at a diner downtown far from our respective company headquarters. You need to see this, he said, sliding his tablet across the table after ordering. It displayed Apex's internal marketing brief for their autumn collection. Somehow Anthony had obtained a copy. I scrolled through and froze at the mock-ups. They were my designs, the exact concepts Beatrice had rejected 6 months prior, now rebranded as the Ascent series, with Mark's name listed as lead designer. They plan to launch in September, Anthony stated quietly. A full marketing blitz. They've already ordered materials. The realization hit me like a physical blow. She rejected these designs knowing she'd use them later. She simply didn't want me to receive the credit. Anthony nodded. That seems to be the case. But there's something else you should know. He retrieved the tablet, opening another document. Pinnacle is accelerating your collection. Abigail convinced the CEO to expedite production. They can launch your designs by August. I sat back, processing this. A month before Apex's launch. Yes. And with proper attribution to you as the designer. Anthony confirmed. He looked me directly in the eyes. But you need to decide now. Once production begins, there's no turning back. I didn't hesitate. Let's do it. Royalties on each unit sold featuring my designs, plus complete creative control over the final production specifications. We're calling it the Summit Series, Abigail explained. We want your name prominently featured in the marketing. 2 days later, I signed the paperwork at Pinnacle's headquarters and handed over my complete design files, not just concepts, but detailed production specifications, material requirements, and manufacturing guidelines. When I arrived home, I found an email from Beatrice in my personal inbox. Oliver, I hope this message finds you well. I was reviewing some of our upcoming designs and realized we might benefit from your expertise in a consulting capacity. Would you be open to discussing this? I deleted it without replying. The following week, I toured Pinnacle's manufacturing facility with their production team. They'd never tackled anything as complex as my modular system. Components functioning independently yet best as a cohesive unit. The lead engineer, Deborah, pulled me aside after the tour. These designs are revolutionary, she said bluntly. But they're incredibly complex to manufacture. If we're truly aiming for the August deadline, I need you in this facility every day. Whatever it takes, I told her. For the next month, I worked 16-hour days. I even slept on a cot in the facility office twice during waterproofing system testing. The production team came to respect me when they saw I understood the practical challenges they faced. Unlike Beatrice, I didn't dismiss manufacturing concerns as someone else's problem. Midway through the process, I received another email from Victoria. We should discuss your current activities and your professional future. Another threat, another attempt to control what they discarded. I forwarded it to Pinnacle's legal team without comment and continued working. Pinnacle moved with astonishing efficiency. Within 3 weeks, they had prototypes of my waterproof collection. They spent days fine-tuning details, collaborating directly with their production team to ensure every specification was perfect. A modular backpack, all-weather outerwear with removable components, adaptable footwear, ergonomic camping equipment, and specialized accessories. Each piece worked independently, yet functioned optimally as a system, something I'd been trying to convey to Apex for years. Abigail included me in marketing meetings, something Beatrice had never done, and listened when I explained the practical benefits to highlight. These aren't fashion statements, I told their team. They're tools for people who depend on their gear in extreme conditions. In late July, industry whispers began circulating. Retailers who'd received preview samples of the Summit Series were impressed. Online forums buzzed with speculation about Pinnacle's unexpected shift in direction. Then came the call from Robert at Apex. Oliver, did you... He stopped abruptly. Never mind. I shouldn't be asking. What's happening over there? Victoria saw Pinnacle's preview catalog. Robert said quietly. The Summit Series is remarkable. Beatrice is in full panic mode, claiming they stole concepts from us. I remained silent. The thing is, Robert continued, we both know these aren't stolen from Apex's current concepts. They're your original designs, the ones Beatrice rejected, aren't they? I can't comment on that, I replied carefully. You don't have to, Robert said. Your name is on them, clear as day in the catalog, designed by Oliver Graves, former lead designer at Apex. It's brilliant. The next day, Victoria herself called. I sent it to voicemail. Her message was curt. Oliver, this is unprofessional. We need to discuss this situation immediately. Instead, I drove to Pinnacle's headquarters for the final product launch meeting. The marketing campaign was prepared. The manufacturing lines were ready. In 2 weeks, the Summit Series would launch in specialized retailers nationwide, a month ahead of Apex's planned launch of the suspiciously similar Ascent Series. The night before the launch, I couldn't sleep. 8 years at Apex, countless prototypes, hundreds of sketches, all that work had led to this moment, not as I'd envisioned, but perhaps as it needed to be. At 6 a.m., unable to rest, I drove to a trail outside the city, the same trail where I'd tested many of my early Apex designs. Dawn was breaking as I hiked to the ridge. The air was cool and damp, Precisely the conditions my waterproof system was designed to withstand. My phone vibrated. A text from Abigail.
Alive.
The website just went up. The first orders are already coming in. I stood on that ridge, watching the sun rise, feeling a strange mix of vindication and sadness. I hadn't wanted it to end this way with Apex. I'd given that company everything, but they'd chosen Beatrice's vision over mine, style over substance. Now the market would decide which approach was superior. You've made a serious mistake. I finally returned her call. No, I said when she answered. You did. The Summit Series launched on August 14th. By noon, Pinnacle's website had crashed 3 times due to traffic volume. Their customer service lines were inundated with retailer calls seeking increased orders. I watched it unfold from Abigail's office as outdoor magazines and gear reviewers published their advance reviews. Revolutionary, game-changing, setting a new standard. My name appeared in every article. Separated at birth, the curious case of 2 identical product lines. The article didn't explicitly accuse Apex of theft, but it raised questions about the timeline, noting that I had designed both collections, although Apex credited Mark for their version. Outdoor forums erupted with speculation. Industry insiders who knew me from trade shows immediately connected the dots. Social media filled with side-by-side comparisons and pointed questions about intellectual property. Victoria called again. This time I answered. This is completely unacceptable, she began without a greeting. You've deliberately undermined our company. I designed products for a company that hired me to do exactly that, I replied calmly. Products you're now selling under someone else's name. We'll need to discuss legal options, she threatened. That would be interesting, I said. I have emails from Beatrice rejecting these exact designs 6 months ago. What would a court make of the fact that you're now producing them with someone else's name attached? Silence hung between us. You should have valued what you had, I added quietly. Good luck with your launch. The following week, Apex announced they were postponing the release of their Ascent series for additional refinement. Industry analysts interpreted this as a retreat. By October, the Summit series had shattered all previous first-quarter sales records for Pinnacle. My royalty checks reflected the success already exceeding my annual salary at Apex. Abigail promoted me to design director, giving me a team of 7 designers and complete creative control over our next 3 seasonal collections. Anthony transferred from materials to join my department as technical advisor. Apex eventually released a hastily redesigned collection bearing little resemblance to my work. Reviews were tepid. Their stock price dropped 10% the following quarter. I encountered Beatrice at an industry conference in Denver that winter. She was at the bar, alone, nursing a drink. Congratulations on your success, she said, stopping me. Her voice lacked warmth. I nodded but remained silent. You could have stayed and fought for your designs, she added. Why didn't you? I considered this for a moment. Some places don't deserve the fight. She flinched slightly, then composed herself. Victoria is stepping down next month. The board asked me to take over temporarily. I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. Good luck, I said, and I meant it. The industry needs strong companies. 6 months later, I received an unexpected package. It contained all my original sketchbooks from my time at Apex, along with a handwritten note from Robert. These belong to you. Beatrice is gone. Just thought you should know. I opened one book to a concept I'd sketched 4 years earlier. A modular tent system for extreme weather conditions, something I'd never shown Beatrice. That evening, I called Abigail. I have an idea for our winter collection, I said. The following spring, Pinnacle's stock value had tripled. Apex announced they were restructuring under new leadership. I didn't follow the news closely. I was too busy designing what came next. Sometimes at night, I still think about my years at Apex, no longer with bitterness, but with clarity. They taught me something valuable, though not what they intended. In this industry, and in life, your work speaks for itself when given the opportunity. Beatrice attempted to silence mine, but in doing so, she only amplified its voice. The best revenge wasn't proving her wrong. It was finding a place that recognized what I'd always known, that good design isn't about chasing trends, it's about solving real problems for real people. And that ultimately is what endures.